to you. Thank you so much for making time for us on TV47 News at 1. Let's keep you updated on news making headlines at this hour. My name is Odida. Let's get started. And we cross over to Olkalo for an update on the by-election preparedness, where security agencies and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission say they have finalized preparations ahead of today's parliamentary by-election. Our reporter Sydney Chazima has the latest on the security situation and the Commission's state of readiness. Sydney, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Coming live from Olkalo Primary School, or Olkalo Senior School, I beg your pardon, where preparations are in top gear. And we are just seeing here, these are presiding officers and deputy presiding officers across various stations right here in Olkalo, just gathering here and getting their details just to collect the strategic and non-strategic electoral materials and then head out to various polling stations spread out in Olkalo constituency. And what we can report that we've had a conversation with the returning officers and various commissioners from IEBC, and what they're telling us that preparations are in top gear and that they've not witnessed any hitches so far. You've also had an update from the security sector saying that the deployment of police officers is in motion just to ensure that those who will turn up tomorrow to cast their ballots will do so in a very peaceful environment. And if my producer Mugonyi can just play you one of the sound bites, then we can get an update later on during the day.
I want to join him by assuring the citizens and the registered voters of Olkalo constituency that we have an election tomorrow. The election starts from 6 a.m. in the morning and ends at 5 p.m. In the evening. But whoever shall be on the queue at 5 p.m. will, of course, according to the regulations and the rules, will be allowed to cast his vote. The commission, led by the chairperson yesterday, gave a brief of what to expect and the do's and don'ts of this by-election, just like any other by-election. We are not introducing rules that are separate from what have happened in the other by-elections. And we reiterated, and we want to reiterate, that we do not expect that any person who is not accredited shall be allowed into the polling station, except the voter. The voter has a right to enter the polling station, and after voting, he leaves the polling station. Any other person, the 400 meters radius, which is the polling station, is not allowed unless you produce accreditation documents, which include a letter, a badge from IBC, and an oath of secrecy. Those are the documents we expect to see for any person, including the media, because even media is accredited, and I can see you have the badges with you, so that we have a process that is smooth and we leave the voters to exercise their right without any interference. The chairman and the commission also reiterated that we do not expect that people will abuse the secrecy of the ballot. So we don't expect that any Kenyan will enter the booth, vote, and then take a photo. This is against the rules and against the law. Therefore, we expect that you vote and you preserve your secrecy. It is your secret. The Constitution says that voting in Kenya is by secret ballot. So once you vote, just go home, cast your vote, and then you go. It's upon you to do that and protect your own vote. Lastly, allow me to explain the voter identification process, because I can see some people requesting whether we have the manual register, whether we have whether our KIMS kit will work, and what is the process. The voter identification process is by biometrics that are already captured in the register of voters. The register of voters is in the KIMS kit, the one we shall use. So when a voter enters a polling station, the first thing he must produce is an identification document, which is the national ID or the passport, depending on which document he registered with. Once you come, then you shall be to give your ID, and once the ID is confirmed it's your ID, then the next time is to check whether your biometric are matching from the register. And you go figure by figure to see which figure is matching. We also have facial recognition as part of a biometric identification that is in the register. All those cannot fail. But in the unlikely event that your fingerprints are not working, which is, in the extreme cases from experience, there are very few cases, we resort to alphanumeric identification. Alphanumeric identification is where we type your ID number.
All right, just a correction on that. What is happening today in Olkalau is the preparation for the by-election that will be taking place tomorrow on the 16th of July. Still on that story, security has been stepped up in Olkalau ahead of tomorrow's parliamentary by-election, with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission introducing additional measures to safeguard the integrity of the poll. Now, the IEBC has banned the use of unmarked vehicles within the constituency, warning that any vehicle operating without registration plates will be intercepted by security officers. The Commission has also confirmed the deployment of both uniformed and plainclothes police officers to maintain law and order throughout the voting process. Meanwhile, IEBC officials have received and opened ballot paper consignments ahead of the pollings, assuring voters that only the electronic voter register will be used, with no manual register available during the election.
We said no unmarked cars in this area. Anybody who has removed his number plates from his vehicles and is running around, the police have been given clear instructions to impound them. And indeed, one of them have already been impounded and will be arraigned in court on Monday. Deployed enough police officers, both in uniform and in civilian. The one in civilian are supposed to detect crime that is being done, because other times crimes are being committed in dark corners. That is their business, to make sure anybody who is up to some mischief is picked out of the society as quickly.
So every person who shall vote in this by-election and in the previous by-election has been identified using the KIMS kit. So we don't expect to have any manual register around for identification, because the KIMS kit is also able to identify those people whose biometric has not come up. We have come with that method, alphanumeric identification, using your ID number to identify you and to make your details come up.
And the Election Observation Group ILOG has raised fresh concerns over widespread voter inducement and campaign malpractice ahead of the Olkalau parliamentary by-election, despite commending the IEBC's preparedness. ILOG says 92% of its observers reported that the IEBC had trained election officials, while 45% confirmed voter education was underway. However, the Observer Group documented widespread voter inducement across the constituency. It says reports linked cash handouts and the distribution of household items to actors from nearly all participating political parties, with leaders allied to UDA featuring most prominently. According to ILOG, inducements ranged from 200 Kenyan shillings to more than 5,000 Kenyan shillings, alongside gas cylinders, mattresses, shoes and other household items. Women, youth and older persons were the main targets, with women aged 25 to 45 years and youth aged 20 to 35 featuring most prominently in the reports. ILOG has called on enforcement agencies to investigate the alleged voter bribery and uphold the integrity of the electoral process.
The critical instances and also the conclusion of this statement. I am privileged to serve as the chairperson of ILOG. My name is Victor Nyongesa. During the period that we deployed our long-term observers, we were able to document several incidents that could undermine the electoral process, and I will proceed to talk about these few instances. One, our report notes that there was vote buying and distribution of cash and materials incentives across the constituency. Observer reports linked these activities to actors from nearly all participating political parties, with leaders affiliated with the UDA featuring most prominently. The reported inducement included cash ranging from 200 bob to more than 5,000, We had instances where people distributed gas cylinders, mattresses, shoes, and even other household items. One common practice involved distributing of 1,000 bob to groups of 3 people, locally referred to as 330 meetings. 330 meetings. Basically, 3 youth or 3 people per group given 1,000 bob. The recipients of these included women, youth, and persons with disability.
Now, former Deputy President and DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua has written to Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja, raising concerns over the security situation ahead of the Olkalau by-election that is scheduled for tomorrow. Now, in the letter, Gachagua alleged that the leadership of the National Police Service has been taken over by Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, Principal Secretary for Internal Security Raymond Omolo, and a section of politicians. Now, Gachagua also alleged that police officers deployed to provide security during the by-election have been given separate instruction by CS Murkomen and PS Raymond Omolo. He further claims that the biggest security threat to the Olkalau by-election is not criminal gangs but plainclothes police officers who, he alleges, are operating outside the command of the Inspector General. All right, away from Olkalau, the High Court has dismissed a petition seeking to legalize cannabis for religious use by members of the Rastafarian community. In a landmark ruling delivered by Justice Bahati Mwamuye, the court found that the petitioners failed to prove that Kenya's narcotics law violates their constitutional rights to freedom of religion, conscience, and belief. The judge maintained that the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Act remains fully enforceable with no religious exemption for cannabis use. However, Justice Mwamuye encouraged a broader national conversation on the country's cannabis policy, noting that any future exemption would require firm constitutional and legal foundation.
Kwa sababu sisi Rasta ni watu ambao tulivu, huwa hatupendi fujo, hatukwenda barabarani kuandamana ama kutupa mawe ama kuchoma mali ya mtu. Tulikuja hapa mahakamani kutafuta justice.
Judgment so that we can be able to lodge the necessary notice of appeal. But for today, this marks just a minor setback in the journey by the people towards realization of their rights. We have received express instructions from our client, the Rastafari community, to move to the Court of Appeal. We will once again have an opportunity to interrogate the legality of these provisions that we are called to question.
That court, the Constitutional Court, is the last bastion, is the last, bastion of hope for the Rastafarian society of Kenya. It was hoped, against all hope, that that decision will free the Rastafarian society of Kenya from the stigmatization that it has experienced over the years.
The jurisprudence in this country is that this matter raises serious constitutional issues, and we are determined to get the final decision from the Supreme Court. In our instructions, we shall be seeking that the President of the Court of Appeal empanels this matter with 7 judges.
In other news, media freedom in East Africa is facing growing pressure amid rising attacks on journalists, concerns over police inaction, and increasing threats to press freedom ahead of Kenya's 2027 general election. The Kenya Media Sector Working Group says the deteriorating safety of journalists poses a serious risk to independent reporting and democratic accountability. The organization is calling on the government to strengthen protection mechanisms, investigate attacks on media workers, and hold perpetrators accountable.
Kisha kwamba wanahabari wanalindwa wakati wanapofanya kazi yao ili wasishambuliwe na vitu zao za kufanya kazi ama vyombo zao kufanya kazi zisiharibiwe, kwa sababu tumeona kwamba wakati hao vijana wanapovamia watu katika mikutano za kisiasa, cha kwanza huwa wanavamia wanahabari, wanavunja kamera zao na recorders zao ili waanze kuficha ukweli. Kwa hivyo tunasema kwamba hiyo lazima ikome na polisi lazima wahakikishe kwamba wanahabari wako na usalama.
Ministry of Interior must issue a public directive criminalizing the targeting of journalists by police and hired goons during public events and protests, and provide a clear framework for protecting media personnel on the front lines. Now, in terms of equitable compensation, the state must urgently facilitate medical and financial compensation for journalists injured in the line of duty during protests, ensuring they are treated with the same urgency as the other victims.
All right, with that, we take a very short break. At this point, you're watching TV47 News at 1, and I'll see you on the other side of this break.
This is not a resort, my friend. This is a storage.
You have to be very careful. You can kill business.
Na leo mkorada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona, kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Hiyo tena. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m.
You have to be very careful. Fake money can kill business.
Na leo mkorada yangu.
Small money, kapesa kadogo, big behavior.
I only have big notes.
Alikuwa anatafuta courage.
Yani nafaje kutengeneza kachumbari na manyanya zinakaa hivi? Ona, kiki ni kama kiwaru.
Hiyo inaitwa commitment to the lie. Amejicommit.
Ndio hiyo. Mpatie.
Unajua kama una mtu kitu, hata tu salamu ya kawaida inakaa kama reminder.
Habari yako?
Sintalipa kesho.
Kesho gani when?
Si kesho ya kesho ya tomorrow.
Hiyo tena. Mzee ni budi nikamchoka.
Ni budi ni madeni.
Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on TV47. Sundays at 8:30 p.m.
Good morning.
You have my rent?
Leo jioni kama tutakuwa tumelipa rent, nauza hii simu yako.
Hamna pesa. I need just to make my nails today.
Sasa hivi natuhusu aje?
Can I order now? Do you ship? Can I get blinking ones?
Mimi nilikuwa na trade. Nimewekelea kitele yangu. Kitele yangu na trade. Nikikunywa maji.
Oh my God. You left me.
Nitumie ni line.
150 Kenya shillings today.
Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching TV47 News at 1. Let's continue with our bulletin. Now, culture has been described as a key pillar in strengthening national unity, especially during election period, with communities encouraged to celebrate their diversity instead of divisions. This was the message during a cultural celebration at AIC Kajiado Township Church, as Sally Davida reports.
Traditional songs, cultural dances and colorful attire filled the AIC Kajiado Township Church as worshippers and guests from different communities gathered to celebrate Kenya's rich cultural heritage. Each community had an opportunity to showcase its unique heritage through traditional performances, dresses and local delicacies including mursik, mokimo, muthokoi, nyama choma, fish and other indigenous dishes.
Leo tumeungana pamoja kama taifa, kila watu ambao wametoka katika kabila lao, wametokea kumsifu Mungu kwa lugha yao, wametokea katika kumsifu Mungu katika nyimbo na tamaduni zao, pia wametupikia chakula mbalimbali za tamaduni zao, na hii ni jambo muhimu sana katika Ukristo.
Participants said such opportunities provide an opportunity to learn about, appreciate and preserve the cultures of different communities while promoting peace and coexistence.
Inatuleta pamoja kama sasa hivi tunashiriki katika ili kanisa la AIC Kajiado. Tunajumuika na kabila zingine, tunaingiana pamoja na tunaendelea vizuri.
Organizers say the event was aimed at celebrating cultural diversity as a way of strengthening national unity and fostering cooperation among Christians. They also called on elders and parents to ensure that positive cultural values, traditions and costumes continue to be passed on the future generations.
Siku kama hii ya leo ni ya muhimu sana katika kisasi hiki kwa sababu hata inatupatia jinsi ya wasasi na watu wazima kupitisha mila zao kwa wadogo.
Sally Davida, TV47.
Leaders across the country continue to express concern over the rising cases of political violence, calling for peace, mutual respect and issue-based politics. They have also urged security agencies to take firm action against those inciting violence ahead of the 2027 general election. Meshak Malusa with that report.
Governor Fernandez Barasa of Kakamega and his Bungoma counterpart Kenneth Lusaka have joined the fray of leaders strongly condemning the rising incidents of violence at political gatherings, saying the trend poses a serious threat to democracy and national security. Speaking at St. Ignatius Mukubu Boys High School in Kakamega County, the two leaders emphasized that political competition should be driven by policies, ideas and mutual respect rather than intimidation, chaos and the use of hired goons.
Wale majamaa ambao wanatumia vijana wetu vibaya kwa njia ya kiuhuni. Jana tumeona wahuni na pia juzi wale goons ambao wanatumiwa na wanasiasa. Tafadhali wanasiasa tuache kutumia vijana kama goons.
Please let us stop mobilizing goons to disrupt functions in this country. If we continue with that trend, we have only one country. Please, if people love you, they love you. If they don't love you, they don't love you.
The governors further warned that if urgent measures are not taken, the growing wave of political violence could trigger unrest as the country gears towards 2027 general election. They also called on security agencies to take decisive action against anyone funding or participating in political violence, regardless of their political affiliation.
All the security apparatus, you must be vigilant ili mambo ya goons iweze kukoma sana kwa nchi yetu. Sio jambo la busara.
Let us not prepare a country for anarchy. Let us be ready to take this country. It's a peaceful country. We don't want to be named among countries where goonism is the order of the day.
Meanwhile, civil society activists in Nakuru County have urged the government to end the rising insecurity and condemn the violence reported in the Olkalau constituency.
They are alarmed by the growing dangerous practice of deploying armed goons and organized criminal groups to attack citizens, disrupt public forums and public voices demanding accountability.
We also call upon our security agencies to arrest and prosecute every individual responsible for planning, financing, and participating in political violence, regardless of political affiliation or status.
The Principal Secretary for Aviation and Airspace Development, Terry Mbaika, has called on leaders and citizens to uphold peace, live together in harmony, and resolve political differences through lawful means.
Nataka kuongea Wakenya niwaambie kuwa hii nchi ni yetu, hizi vitu zitakuja na ziisha, na lazima tufanye siasa ya amani.
She warned that political violence undermines national unity and hinders the country development. Mwaluse Meshak, TV47.
All right, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Lee Kinyanjui has inspected the ongoing construction of the new Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute in Nairobi, South Sea. The facility will serve the entire East and Central African region, transcending Kenyan borders by tailoring training to specific county needs like pastoralism, agriculture, and even offering entrepreneurial training skills to business people. Additionally, the institution is expected to create vital job opportunities, and the CS confirmed that construction is on track and will be fully completed early next year, positioning the institution as a regional hub for industrial growth.
Visit is to establish the degree to which our institution fit within the bigger national agenda of industrialization. We take note that in the recent days, the President has pronounced the industrial agenda in various meetings. You're aware that we have a huge refinery coming up in Lamu, and therefore the whole construction will require certain skills. So as a ministry and working with Kiridi, we would want to know where are these welders, where are these people with the technical skills necessary to drive that particular agenda.
All right, let's get sporty. AFC Leopards have received a major financial boost from President William Ruto ahead of the 2026-2027 football season. The head of state today handed the club 10 million Kenyan shillings at State House, directing that half the amount be shared among the players as a reward for their recent performances, while the remaining 5 million will be used to strengthen the squad through new signings. Now, President Ruto also lauded Ingwe's rising up the FKF Premier League standing and reaffirmed the government's commitment to investing in sports infrastructure, revealing that the Talanta Sports City Stadium will incorporate commercial facilities to drive sustainable revenue for Kenyan sports.
Sports is one of Kenya's greatest untapped economic opportunities. For too long, we treated it as an entertainment. We cheered, we celebrated, we went home. Countries that treat sports as a recreation produce athletes, but countries that treat sports as an industry, they create jobs, wealth, and global influence. Kenya has chosen the second path.
But more importantly, Your Excellency, you have taken talent nurturing to another level, because right now the infrastructure across the country, in the next few months, there will be availability of training grounds and stadia that will be available as far as Wajir. So we'll be able to have a very good pool, where we can sport talents, nurture talents, and develop talents.
I promise you as the captain, next season tutakuja hapa na trophy na pia ile yako ingine tunajua utakuja na tusherehekee wote pamoja.
All right, congratulations to the Leopards, and that brings us to the end of TV47 News at 1. Many thanks once again for making time for us this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Odida. Good afternoon.